Hello, everyone. This is Roger Michalski, publisher of Eagle Financial Publications. I'm once again with the George Gilder team. Today, we're going to talk about Moonshots, one of their little more aggressive services. We talked about the Gilder Technology Report. Today, we're going to talk about a little more aggressive Moonshots. And Richard, tell us a little bit about Moonshots, and I know we're going to get into how Moonshots came about, which is actually a really interesting story.
Okay, so I love Moonshots, and I can talk very freely and brag very freely about Moonshots because I don't do most of Moonshots. It's mostly John and Steve. If you don't subscribe to Moonshots, you're crazy, right? It's got amazing returns because it focuses on companies with transformative potential, 2x, 3x, 10x, and it all comes out originally of a book that John wrote called Moonshots, which describes how some of these early stage companies progress through their life cycle and how you can gauge whether a relatively new startup is likely to be an explosive success. But that's my bottom line. I read Moonshots and I'm just envious of how good it is. So, John?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, Moonshots is the book was really focused on the idea of the exponential technologies as opposed to incremental advances. It's the exponential that is disruptive. It's the exponential that creates new industries and that disrupts industries and changes the trajectory of how humanity lives. And so that's very interesting to us. And, it comes from entrepreneurs, single individuals who are inspired and creative and incredibly intelligent and resourceful such that they're able to build a company and bring it to market and actually end up disrupting markets. So the book is a deep dive into that, the thought processes, the methodologies. I can tell if you're on a moonshot trajectory or not. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And George is actually the very first person I sent the book to upon its publication because his thinking clearly influenced mine, and I think that will be apparent in the pages of the book as well. And so clearly he resonated with it, and we've sort of morphed it or extended its operating principles into the Moonshots investment newsletter and portfolio. Very exciting.
And what we've done, Roger, this is a little bit more of a higher point price point product, but there are good reasons for that. First of all, we're bringing, as Richard said, companies that have 2x, 3x, 10x potential return, right? But what we've done is we've come up with an innovative portfolio management system that really is designed to help manage risk of these early stage companies, right? And John came up with a 5-point system of different designations, and we use these every week in our newsletters, and we talk about them every week, and they're really important. And there are 5 classifications. There are liftoff companies, there are escape velocity companies, there are orbit companies, course correction companies, and deep space. And there's a logic behind each category. The liftoff companies are the earliest stage companies, the companies that are just getting off the ground, just commercializing their innovative technologies. And those companies get a weight in our portfolio of 1%. So a 1% of a total equity portfolio would be a liftoff company. And the reason it's small is because there's tremendous appreciation potential, but they also trade like options, and there could be times when they go down and you want to pick up some more, but you want to have an average exposure of 1% of these companies. The escape velocity companies are at a further stage of evolution. They're starting to get real traction in the market, real penetration. Those get a 2% weight in an overall equity portfolio. Then we have an orbit company, and these constitute the majority of our portfolio right now. These are established companies. They're getting a lot of traction in the market. Their market capitalizations are starting to go up, and they get a 3% weight in an overall portfolio. Then we have the fourth classification is called course correction. These are companies that stumble. Maybe they're in orbit and they stumble and they come out of orbit and it looks like they're going to crash, but there's usually a management change, there's a business strategy change, and there's an opportunity to get some phenomenal returns if this strategy turns out to be successful, if the management team turns out to be successful. And we've had good experience with the course correction companies. And then the deep space companies, those are the moonshots on the way to graduating to be paradigm companies and becoming, 10 billion market cap companies, or more. And the deep space companies are the companies that have really demonstrated superiority in their respective technology and business.
And I think, as you can imagine from the descriptions, these are smaller companies, so they're small cap, they're micro cap, and we're even going to have some Reg A investments in there. Which, if you're not familiar with Reg A, that's pre-IPO, and you don't have to be an accredited investor or anything. Anybody can get into those, and while there's a lot of Reg A's out there, you need guys like this to guide you to the right ones, because you go to some of those sites and they do all this marketing copy that makes every single one sound like the best thing since sliced bread. But these guys dig deep and find, the real truth behind these companies. And as Richard said, the track record is unbelievable. So, it's a great product. I'm very excited to have it here at Eagle. So guys, can you tell us about one of the picks that you have right now in the portfolio? And of course, let's not disclose it because the people who paid for it, we don't want to, give away someone, that they paid for, but give us a little tease of, one of your favorite picks right now.
Yeah, I think, we talk a lot about the digitization of the world, and that's certainly happening, and it's about to get incredibly accelerated. So every now and then a new technology comes along. In this case, it's something called the spatial web. You'll be hearing more about that. It's a superset, if you will, of Web 3.0. And this technology is going to breathe new life into a vast array of even older technologies, because it presents entirely new use cases for them. And many of them will actually become disruptive. So now, just for contrast or context, Web 2.0 is the internet as we know it today. It indexes pages and documents in a very two-dimensional manner. So every page, as you know, has a URL associated with it. In the spatial web paradigm, every physical object can now have an address, and we can deal with it via the web in time and space, hence the spatial aspect. We can assign access rights. We can execute smart contracts. We can do track and trace. It turns the world into an Internet of Things on steroids, but with far more features and dimensions. And what's more is it provides an ownership layer onto the internet, providing self-sovereign identity, connecting people and places and things, and it provides a guaranteed authenticity, and that's a key thing, chain of title or ownership across the blockchain. And, it's powered by not only the blockchain, but virtual reality, augmented reality, 5G networks, AI, more convergence, right? It's a very exciting milieu. Well, this particular company that's part of our portfolio, again, at the time it was founded, had no idea that its technology would benefit from something called the spatial web, which is going to be transformative in the world. And they find themselves at the very heart of it. So again, this company could not possibly be better situated for it. And we're even more excited about it now because of what these new developments and these new convergences are going to mean for their future.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And actually, I was at a conference just a few months ago that George Gilder, it was a Web 3.0 conference, and George Gilder was asked to speak there. So, you can tell, he and the team, they're at the forefront of these technological changes. And these are the types of things you'll get in Moonshots to find out, the name of that company, as well as everything else in the portfolio and the whole portfolio management that Steve talked about. click the button below this video right now to subscribe to Moonshots. We have a great special offer to welcome the George Gilder family to the Eagle family. And so click that button below this video right now and sign up for Moonshots and get exposed to these, smaller companies that have, like they said, the 2, 3, 10x potential with an excellent track record. So we're very excited to have it. So definitely click that button now to join. And I want to thank you guys for talking to us about Moonshots today and in this series of videos. We've got one more to go, so stay tuned for our next one tomorrow. Thank you.